please. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we start with Stephan. Is it working?
Hello?
Yeah,
Yes,
it works.
working.
Stephan from ti&m or ti&m. Your CTO role, and I was wondering, how do you now, after having heard this, I mean, you are, working for clients, doing projects, etc. So is this something like you go, okay, that will happen, we'll jump on later, or do you think it's something you are looking at within your company as a technology?
Yes, it was great to see what's all happening, and our CEO was last 2 weeks in Singapore, and Singapore already uses quantum technology, is also a subject in the financial industry. Also for this quantum safe cryptography, this is a project in our company, and I also tried this afternoon how I could program with Q#. It's not so easy to understand this logic in quantum computing. I remembered when I learned binary algorithm to learn how it works with transistors 40 years ago, and now it starts with some different technology. And I think it will be important, and I agree, that in Switzerland we have this technology and we should start to influence our customer and say maybe we could make a garage to try it out with quantum technology, and it would be great to work closer with labs and companies like you are.
So you are actually very much looking into the technology.
Yes, I think I heard from IBM at the Berner Architektentreffen 2 years ago. They had 2 people, one with the dark side of quantum and one with the golden side, and there I started to think about it, and we also tried to make a study at Fernfachhochschule, but it didn't work out. Security is more important actually, and artificial intelligence also made some more progress than quantum.
Okay, so maybe we ask the other side, so to say. How do you experience the readiness? I mean, you gave a quote about industry lacking behind, sort of, right? In trying this out, but maybe we ask Marco and then Rajiv. How do you experience like companies like ti&m or other service companies, software companies? Are they like ramming your doors, or is it more you going there and say, hey, you need to do more?
Yeah, for us it's coming in waves. We had the first wave in 2022 when NIST communicated the 4 new algorithms, and some people got alerted that what this is about. And we have quite a significant wave since the standards came out 6 weeks ago. Yes, there is much more awareness, much more interest. It's not enough, because it's still a fraction on what should be there. So still a potential to grow. We are also limited. I have to admit, we are also limited in a way. I mean, we are a research organization. We are not that big, so it's mixed feelings, right? Yeah, there should be more awareness, but we hope that there are more people they can call, interested organizations can call, not so many call directly us, because we're just there. At some point in time.
So it's not yet a business unit, so to say, or in the business, the quantum.
It's a difficult question. Quantum Safe is a unit, but we are more about the thought leadership part we have inherited, right? We just have it to be very, very modest, you see. It's more about, we try to get the ecosystems going we cannot do everything ourselves. It's far too big also for a company like IBM. Right? So we need more companies, small and large ones, to take that up and start acting on it.
Okay, let's go to Roger. How are they knocking on your doors, all the partners, and queuing up, or how do you experience it?
I would say, so we've been around for 2 years, and I would say really it's a question of us having to go out and sell it and convince it, right? I think from a business standpoint, I mean, I didn't mention this, but Quantum Basel is a center of competence for quantum computing and AI. So AI is, of course, more readily available for production use cases, and so, you know, that's kind of the shorter term goal. But I would say, you know, I mean, to echo a couple of thoughts, right? So in our end, our capacity is limited to a certain extent, so we can't accept like, all the projects. But indeed, it is, you know, we do have to go to companies, and I think that's okay because really, you know, it is our job to convince people or to demonstrate why it's interesting for them, right? So I think I'm excited about these few projects that I mentioned, and hopefully that can demonstrate more and convince more people as to why it could be interesting to invest in it today.
So very early in the stage of developing markets or even business, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
From what I've experienced.
Matthew, on your side, how did you experience this? Is it push or pull for your specific product?
I'd say our products have a very well-defined value proposition in our niche market, and there it starts to be clear now what it does for who, what it offers, what you get back from it. So now it's more of a we get the interest.
Okay.
But generally speaking, I think the technology is just like you're getting a sneak peek into a technology development which will take decades, as was mentioned before, right? So it is also absolutely normal that it takes time that people start to understand how to use it, and then it comes in waves.
And how is the competition? So how many people are trying to get to the same? I mean, if you say semiconductor industry, it's not that you have like sand in a beach, right? It's like, yeah.
Just enough to be painful.
Just enough to be painful. Yeah.
Stimulating. No, it's you know. Hopefully, we're not alone. I think it's a healthy sign, and we definitely push each other. At the same time, there are not 100 different applications, so the people that have a desire to engage into business in this area, they also see what works, right? So it is a natural incentive. We've been there first maybe on our application, but we have already 2 competitors in Europe and China.
Okay. So there is competition, but still kind of a greenfield situation.
Yeah, it's very small.
It's very small.
Any other business where you have, I don't know, hundreds of competitors or...
Okay. But it takes a lot to get into that business. I mean, there's a lot. It's very researched, the science.
All competitors are leaning on a research organization themselves.
Okay, so research and science is very fundamental to get started, right? Yeah. Okay. So at this point, I think you have questions. So maybe we open up and then we come to other questions on the final round. So are there questions? Oh yeah, a lot. Let me get this mic, please. And then who was there?
First of all, I'm impressed to see everything together like this. So it's very helpful to get a better picture of what quantum is about. Then when I listen to you, you struggle with exactly the same problem that other recent innovations struggling with. AI. Everyone says, why are people not using more AI? Why are we not further down the road? Take whatever it was, NFTs, crypto, blockchain, whatever it is, it's always the hype about the technology. We always have a group of people in front of us telling us how it's going to reshape the world, yet it's not happening. Why is that? I think what is missing here, I get it very much from your side. You are very precisely bringing a need because there's something at risk and people will feel the need, they will come to you. But on both of your sides, I think it needs someone else to come in and to help you go to the other side and bring a vision, bring a story, to say, what I just heard in another meeting before was about clinical trials, and they said we struggle to know what innovation is about in pharma. We don't know what is innovation. Are we even able to innovate? You have to give them a vision of what innovation is possible. What does it mean for the business? All what I have seen now are applications that are doing what we are doing already in a different way. Is that innovation? Doing something more efficient what we can do already is not really changing the way what we are doing. Thinking about your sensors. For me it's not very clear how these sensors are different from sensors anyway. They are quantum sensors. Okay, they're smaller, tiny, smaller, but they're still measuring something that we understand, that we expect. Are they really changing the game? I think it would be fantastic to have a cross-functional group working on shaping those visions, those stories, going out and inspiring people to say, rethink completely what we are doing. Because that's the potential I see here. It's not just finding a business niche for those products.
Some reactions to that? Yes. I mean, you say it's always super, let's say, forward-looking, disruptive, whatever you want technology, but then the use cases are sort of incremental, right? Because that's maybe how you can sell them. I don't know. Please.
No, it's a good comment, and it's great that you are very ambitious about the technology itself. I think we will get there. It's also, if you look back and look at other industries, it's also the very natural way. This is the way it always happens, right? When you look at computers, for example, the first application also was in the lab, right? Any new product takes time to get on the market. The technology is systematically adopted by scientific first, before finding the first niche. And this is, there are basic business fundamentals behind it. And one of them is that your cost of making something before you find a completely scalable market, in particular for the hardware, are really high, right? So I'm not worried of the speed at which we're developing. And to complement, just to finish on the first point that you brought, the hype, my humble view on why suddenly things accelerated and we have this meeting today is because about 5 years ago, it was 2 years after we started, there was suddenly enough, just enough traction that investors really got interested. What did this do? Two things. First, it created a hype because everybody started to talk about it, money was in game, and this is when you start talking about a technology really, right? So this is maybe the not so good side, but the downside is, or the consequence of that was money happened as well. And progress over the last 5 years has been much faster than it had been in the 10 years before doing just academic work, right? So the goal hadn't really changed from a scientist's perspective. The goal really hadn't changed, but we have more power now. We have big companies making big leaps and big step forward. So all of that hype comes from this money suddenly being available. All things, related. Pharma still spends way more, and AI spends way more.
Okay, but yeah, normally technology, money comes in, bubble creates, something bursts, and something will be left over, right? So, and that's innovation cycle. But please, some other comments.
I can comment. It's a little bit my personal view, but I think I agree, right? I think it would be really nice to have this sort of vision, right, of something that how this technology can really change. And so, I mean, maybe let's take an example to a further conclusion. So one of the projects we're working on is with a startup in Basel. They're called Moonlight AI. And they're trying to improve detection of mutations in blood cells. And they're using AI, and there is a limitation because, in medical data, it's hard to come with a lot of examples. You're limited, right? And so we're working on understanding if with a quantum computer, you can do more, right, with less. And this is interesting. And you can start saying, okay, can we diagnose things that were either undiagnosable or we just couldn't before, and then maybe we could do just a drop of blood and wait, we've heard this before, right? This is Theranos. And so I think as a scientist, this is why I really do believe that we could get there, but I'm reticent to say that so boldly because I can't say that with 100% confidence. So maybe this is, I don't know what the solution to that problem is, because I really think it could change the world, but I don't have a good timeline in my head, and I don't have a good exactly like anybody has a clear path there. So this is where I start to kind of hold back my sort of visions and dreams a little bit.
Well, just hire a non-scientist. Yeah. So maybe some other comments on this question.
This supercomputer reminds me of other things. I mean, the CERN is in Switzerland, right? Okay. The onion ring, that is the. But in your case, are you thinking of the ethos, of the ethical? Are you in collaboration with policymakers about the limits, the potential, the destructive? I mean, hello? We are talking about nuclear, and we have, no one's talking about Elon Musk, and he's all over the place right now. I mean, what's happening? Are we in a dark room here? Are you ignoring this? Hello?
Thank you. Okay, so the ethical question, I mean, the regulative governance questions, I mean, it's powerful technology, and I think, Marco, you have surely made this point, right? So, I mean, powerful technologies in the wrong hands. I think that's what we gives it a hard time sleeping, right? So please, maybe some comments. What is your perspective on that?
I expect that every major company trying to develop quantum computers does, as we have, has this ethical component very prominently. Right? So that is something that is part of the development of quantum computers, at least for IBM. And we are talking to basically the whole ecosystem, right, on all levels. It's not just a technology thing. It's also a regulatory thing, it's a policy thing, it's an ethical thing. There's people working 100% on that part. So we see this discussion ongoing on all levels. It's not just technology, it's not just people trying to develop something that is different from everything else and you know, create something brilliant in technology. It's really the whole ecosystem. So the reason why we have quantum safe as a, for example, as a very prominent element, that was not that easy, because people prefer talking about quantum computers, not about cryptography, right? But the fact that we have done this just reflects what's happening. We did, I think the ecosystem, technology ecosystem, did some far shots with AI. And it took some time until the organizations realized that there is a huge potential on the dark side of AI, right? And I think there was a learning, very important learning. You can't just progress without thinking about the collateral effects.
But I think, yes, the problem, or let's say natural, is day one you invent a new technology, and day two the bad guys come in, right? And use it. So, yeah, please, maybe Rajib, you wanted to say something.
We also work in national security, and Arno Swiss has a guide where quantum is also on the list, and they checked out with 14 megatrends and how this different technology interact and you even can make a simulation game. Maybe we could use this to find out which are real innovations. You can spend half a day or a day to make new innovations out of this toolbox. It would be very interesting to make this, and I think it's important to always have a look at these double-use goods, that you don't go in the wrong direction or get trapped by the bad guys.
Okay, thank you. So, military is taking care of it? A bit, yeah?
It seems so. I want to add, indeed, it's a good question. And it involves a lot of people, right? And we have to do something about it. So the question is, okay, what are the steps to take? There are a couple that we are doing. For example, I know other companies are doing too, but we have, so my boss is the deputy CEO of the company. And he's working with institutions, and he's written up a few papers about in the thought leadership idea. Also in a more concrete sense, we are also working with Almasses to try and understand how to mitigate these possibilities and how to, avoid it going in the wrong direction. I will add yet another ethical issue we should think about, but in the well, in the other direction of, okay, maybe it does a lot of good, but what if it only is used by a few people, right? We need to make sure that really, if it does have, you know, the bad side of it, of course, we need to mitigate that, but also the positive side, we need to be able to distribute it, because then that could lead to massive inequality, right? The haves and the have not. So that's also another issue to take. And I think one additional aspect I could say that we can learn from is, I know there's a much bigger discussion of the same topic, but for AI, right? And I think that's obviously a current problem. And I think in the quantum world, we should look at that and be like, well, what are the lessons that we're learning from there such that we can prevent those problems already today?
So maybe from a scientist point of view, you want to...
Just to add that on top, none of that is private and happening within the company. There is a association which is called GESDA, based in Geneva, that is looking in ethics aspects of any technology. And they have opened a quantum chapter, I think 18 months ago, and recently it's called the Open Quantum Institute, where you can actually see for yourself what are the actions, the recommendations, the concerns about ethics and where we stand today.
Yeah, but this new, I mean, just to bring it a little bit down, but as a scientist, if you, I mean, you can do great thing with this neurotechnology you showed, right? But I mean, I'm a bad guy, you can think of a lot of other things I could use it for, right? So how do you, as a scientist, how do you deal with that? I mean, it's an old question, right? You know, there are films about it, basically. Even recent, there were films about it, yeah.
It's a difficult question because we're a 15-people organization, right? So I won't claim that we have a lot of activity and one person dedicated on ethics and the technology. We're certainly biting to any goals in terms of dual use, for example. Our case, our most serious case is how quantum sensors can be used for war. So this is where we take action, and what we do is not.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But as I said, I mean, there's an old question, Oppenheimer, etc. I mean, you do technology, science, and of course, you can go into that hands. Good question. Please.
So for cryptography, for safe communication, end-to-end encryption, or also cryptocurrencies and other topics, to move forward and to be safe, do we need quantum computing itself, so quantum computers to do this, or can we apply technology that cannot be decrypted with quantum computers in a safe way with traditional technology? So, do you understand the question, or is it just, yeah?
Yeah, so you're looking for cryptographic algorithms that run on classical architecture, so everything we have today, and are robust against quantum computers. For what I showed, we don't need quantum computers. Quantum computers, or the progress with quantum computers, is just a thing breathing down our neck, right? So, but all is classical.
So maybe to add on that, so that means we the cryptography that we have today for cryptocurrencies, for example, we need to improve those algorithms going forward to make sure that it's going to be future safe. Is this possible? You explained, obviously, if something is encrypted and it's stored and it's recorded, at some point in time we can decrypt it with quantum computers, right? So there's only a time distance of safety, right? But is there safety, for example, for cryptocurrencies in the future? Will Bitcoin at 2033 be history because of this?
So all the algorithms we developed can be used to replace the existing ones. That has to happen in a smart way. The stuff that's already out, for instance, Satoshi's wallet, that's out. So you have to think about how to cope with that, right? But whatever, after implementation of these new algorithms, what comes after, that is safe against, it's considered to be safe against quantum computers. And it's all classical. So on our architecture, on our smartphones, on our notebooks, on our current supercomputers, and also on quantum computers, obviously.
It reminds me a little bit of the year 2000 problem.
Well, this is an advice to selling Bitcoin to 30 years.
So now all the software has to be re-engineered for the quantum wave, right? Any other question?
Just to be sure, it's related to the question.
Yeah, sorry, it's related to the question. These recommendations from the regulators for the post-quantum, so they are already proof that the cryptography will not be broken, or they are just recommendations because they have to do something. Are we sure? Because I mean, there's two trends now in many AI, quantum, and blockchain. Okay, it's every trend, but if we get into industrial blockchain, are we going to get quantum in 5 days, in five years? Right? Then I go into quantum, depending on the demand.
So why do regulators or standardization bodies know that this new cryptography, these new algorithms are resistant against quantum computers, right? How do they work? They recommend to use them. The process how cryptography is selected for standardization. That's an open process. Usually in the Western world, usually guided by the US National Institute for Standards and Technology. And it's already the third time they do this for an important piece of cryptography. It was 25 years ago for AES, 10 years ago for SHA-3, which is an hash algorithm, and this time for this asymmetric cryptography, which is in the scope of quantum computers. I must say it was a very difficult process, because there are not too many people who actually understand the math, plus the way how to run algorithms in quantum computers. Right? But the math is one part, and well, if you have the best people in the world looking at this over a certain time, and there are some principles how you develop cryptography, and there are some principles what problems quantum computers are expected to resolve and what not. I'm pretty confident that this works out at least as well as the cryptography we had in the past. I mean, who selected the cryptography we built our digital ecosystems on? The stuff that started in '95. Who understood exactly why? I mean, the easy example I showed with factoring, right? There are other algorithms that are much more difficult to explain. So who exactly understood this? And yet we trusted a large part of our life on it. And it's the same here, right? We also made a lot of business out of it. So yeah, who can be sure? No one can guarantee, but there are some solid trends, right, that would help us. And the national standardization bodies, at least in the Western world, they usually follow more or less. They have their own flavors, German BSI and French ANSI, and the UK NCSC, they typically have some additions or some proposals, but in general, they follow the NIST process in the US. It's different, there's different process in Russia, different process in China, but remarkably, China selected the same mathematical problems as NIST selected. So there seems to be a lot of confidence in these problems to be robust against quantum computers.
Okay, so our wallets can be made safe. Any other questions? Okay, to Chandu.
Thank you very much. I think we all most likely understand that this is going to be disruptive at some point, and the best thing we can do is to learn and understand technology. So my very simple question is, how can we engage with the technology in a meaningful way for us without maybe having lots of funds available, instead of just reading papers or hoping for some point for the technology to be super accessible? So how can we learn about it? How can we engage with it? So I just tried, okay, there's like a 10-minute free trial a month from IBM, but I'm very honest, I have no idea how to use that. So what can we do to learn about the technology and to understand its impact even better?
Yeah, I can have an opinion on that. So I think there are a few things out there. I mean, the internet is your friend, but indeed you have to know a little bit where to look, because if you type quantum technologies, it's going to give you a chunk of things. But I think for concrete things, let's definitely have a conversation. But I would say the main things out there are, there's some really good, I mean, I learned a lot of stuff from YouTube, so that's in a learning sense. In a more hands-on sense, there are some specific websites out there that can get you started. I think even within quantum computing is really big, so you have to kind of read a little bit, and there are places where it can help you be like, oh, where should I start and sort of what topic. IBM does have a really good system as well, so you can access their system, but they also have tutorials online to get you started and things like that. So that's one of several examples that are out there. But in terms of the computing space, yeah, that's what I would maybe recommend, is that we can discuss, and I can also give out specific places to go and get your hands dirty a little bit. But yeah.
Okay, then grab Rajiv afterwards.
Yes.
And the other, what do you do at ti&m to make technology, new technology accessible, like in this case, in quantum?
Reading books, visiting web pages where you can learn things and try it out.
And your talent, so the other, do you get them to go into this tech, or what do you do in general?
We have a concept of innovation. It's called ti&m Garage, and if you have an idea, you can pitch it to a gang of 8 or to the CTO, and then you can make this. Can build something. If someone has an idea how to
use a quantum computer, then
yes,
okay,
make something innovative with it.
Okay, okay, you heard about IBM? How was it? 10 days?
Yeah, just want to say it's 10 minutes. You have to earn them, right?
And yes, for you, Matthew, to find talents, you talked a little bit about that. It's not so easy, right? It's kind of an arcane technology, or if you talk about nerds, it's super nerdy, right?
It's quite nerdy. On the nerd level, it's pretty high. The good news, though, is that on top of the hardcore quantum specialists, we need more and more of these additional talents, where we like what is called quantum awareness, right? So if you just like, for example, as you seem to be interested in quantum technology, someone who's kind of exposed to the field, not afraid of being with the super nerds, but bringing himself or herself something very different. It can be even like a business skill or a CAD design skill or very complementary skills. And I see the ecosystem is asking for more and more of that other type as we go into the system building, right? So we need the data scientists, we need the system architect, we need the mechanical engineers on our side, electrical, a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it's important to have this.
If you are there enough to engage with quantum studies, then you have the hardcore stuff that you need, and you will find a job very easily.
Okay, brilliant. So, one more question, or I would just like to close it up, otherwise we have some drinks and a little bit of food, and of course we can continue the discussion. But one last question. You mentioned it, Matthew, like about the ecosystem, of course. We're here, Basel Tech, Switzerland. We'd like to know a little bit more, where do we stand? This is like what I understood from quantum computing, that it's actually a new foundation, and it could be the chance kind of for Switzerland and Europe to jump on that train, right? Because the other one, I think, we missed it, right? I mean, if I look what was coming out of ETH Zurich back in the 60s or 70s, and then what the ecosystem made out of it wasn't a computer industry. So I was wondering, how do you see this? Is this like the next wave to jump onto it, or will it just be a gradual step forward, as some also pointed out to, that it will not be like, sitting on existing tech, right? So please, maybe each one could give a short comment on that. Maybe you start with Matthew, as you brought up this question again. Yeah.
So I was at an industry meeting, semiconductor people talking about how do we invest into the right technologies to real manufacturing in Europe. The concern was is there enough industry in Europe? And one of the key message out was, given the requirement in terms of investment, capex that is needed to build any semiconductor chip today, it's so hard. So you need to place your bet as a continent, I'm not even talking about Switzerland here, as a continent on technologies that provide not even a 10x improvement in performance, but a 100x in performance. Despite the fact that we're not ambitious enough, it remains today one of those technologies where it's high risk, but it's also potentially extremely disruptive. So I would advocate that we should place these type of bets as Europe.
Take more risks, actually.
Yeah, do some of these investments, and not all of them are going to pay off, right? But yes, I think quantum is one of them. We should not let this pattern.
So embrace the saying, no risk, no fun, right? Yeah, please, maybe Marco, you can follow, so we go down here. Where do you think, Rüschelkon has been established already in the 50s, 60s, I think, right? So it's a long time that I can actually see this research. Where do you think that we stand here? Or can we make a difference, or are we just jumping on the train?
So I will not say too much about quantum computing being a representative of a US company. But we are also installing our quantum computers in Europe. I think I agree with you. As personally, there should be some more dynamics. If I look at cryptography, it's a little bit different. We have a serious lack of cryptographers. So if you go out to the market, there's just nothing. So if you want to solve that problem with cryptographers, it will be a failure. So we're not going to try to grow in terms of cryptography. We are trying to change the problem to something people can handle, system integration problem. And our aim is to bring cryptography back into the commodity stage where it belongs. So that's not what you see as a growth thing. And let's get cryptography experience everybody. Unless if there are people who are interested, please contact me. But yeah, it's different. Quantum, from my perspective, has a completely different potential, and that's what we should go for.
So yes, I think Roger, where you work, that's kind of a unique. We have a lot of investments from an individual or a family going into that. I think that's kind of not yet a home run, but a good start, right?
Yeah, that's right. So the Uptown Basel campus and us, Quantum Basel, as another company, was all the investment, or is all the investment of one person, so Dr. Thomas Stephan and his family. And I think it's interesting because when I've heard this discussion before about, is Switzerland positioning itself well enough in the quantum space? And I hear two answers, and I think I've slowly realized why I hear two different answers. One is, no, we should invest more and we should grow the business of quantum. The other one is, no, but we have a lot of investments in the government already, right? And I think it's because there are two tracks. There's the academic and open innovation track, right? And there we do have, I think, Switzerland has a long history of investments in innovations like the internet, and now we have the OQI, the Open Quantum Institute, mentioned by Mathieu. And we have a lot of excellent universities producing really good work. And then there's the business side of capitalizing, where I think that's where the other answer comes from, which says, hey, we really should invest more and find a way to capitalize on this so that we're not left behind, and kind of to your example of ETH producing some work and maybe it not being where it is today in the commercial world. So for the second aspect, I think it's a tough question to answer for Switzerland because we're pretty small country, but I think what is, this is just a personal opinion maybe, is required is, even quantum computing is a very broad field, so I think as we find our expertise, we can become really good at a few important things, right? And I think Unami is a really cool example where we mentioned, Matthew mentioned it's a little bit more niche, but if that can become like a forefront in the space of quantum sensors for silicon and things like that, you can really find the niches that are really interesting for us.
So what you're also saying basically is it's the science translation, right? That Switzerland is like scientists preferring to stay in their little labs, and companies saying, "Oh, this is not ready yet. I don't want to invest." So, your last words, Stephan Sutter. I didn't, it just happened like that. But yeah, what can companies do? Do you like helping to translate or seeing these possibilities? I mean, I know you don't want to just throw the money out of the window, but still, what can be done here?
Yeah, it's a little bit like the federal government which is watching what happens, and if there is an opportunity, then we should be ready. So maybe this quantum machine learning, I think it's very interesting to have a look at this. I always think maybe it's possible, it's not sure. If our brain is also a quantum computer, it only uses 20 watts and not the huge sums all these compute centers consume and even need fission energy. So it could go in this direction, that with machine learning, with quantum, needs less energy than we use today with graphic cards. And that's why we should have a look at and try it out, and yes, talk with each other, and maybe a customer orders something which makes something happen that a lot more people think it's a good idea.
Okay, but you gave the word, talk with each other. That's what we're going to do back there at the buffet. So thanks for listening, thanks for your question, thanks for your great speech and contributions. And see you later at the buffet. Thank you very much.